it's so like a lot of stories that women have shared with me, you know, through social media, through real life, through connection, is that like they ain't gonna admit it on my platform. You know, I'll be like, come on, call me. Like, you know, go on my back, call me. I need y'all to really, the more we speak and open up about the truth, the more people will feel comfortable to share their story. When you tell me and you say you can share it, but I need you to share it, you know? I'm only telling you, it's better when the storytelling comes from the source, you know?
Yep.
I'm just a secondary source, but I hear all the time that so many mamas and grandmamas have stop, they regret, like, you know, allowing their mothers and their grandmothers and their aunties to a good man has gotten away from them, you know. Yep. I've heard my first baby dad, you know, he was doing everything right and my mom and them hated him, he never did nothing wrong. And then think about it is that the people that they get after that just be worse and worse and worse, you know, because nowhere in this lifetime, no matter what you believe, even if you just believe in karma, whatever, are you going to keep making good people pay? Eventually you're going to feel that, you know? Yep. And they never had a good example. So they pretty much, a lot of them living vicariously through their children. They don't want to see them happy. But why do you think so many Black elders, you know, the ones that are supposed to be teaching, why do you think they brainwash and propagate outside of we already know white supremacy, we know that's a given. Outside of that, why do you think they brainwash them, give them that propaganda that, and really have them thinking that this man gonna hurt me? You don't even know him. Didn't even give him a chance.
Because the truth is, the women that fit that behavior don't respect men. So when you don't respect something, think about it, right? The way they talk about men is the same way they talk about white people. So their best guidance is to tell you to avoid, right, or to extract. But then they'll tell you to go get your own money, and you got to go work with white people to get your own money to avoid a Black man, to not need him. You know? So really, the older generation of women are just really misandrist. No different than the old white racists. They're the same way towards the men. And then they say, oh, they was abusive. They still trying to impart information on you that's based on their hurt that they never dealt with. They still mad at their mamas. They still jealous of their aunts. They still jealous of their own children. Nothing else makes sense, because when I see Black men talk to younger Black men, they don't warn them against from a hateful place. They just tell them, say, hey, these are some things that you're going to see on your path. Right. If you're moving the right way, don't let these particular distractions derail you from off your purpose. Make sure you got a purpose. And then the other, which goes to the other point, then when you talk about women are reluctant to tell younger women to make a man your purpose. You see how foreign that even sounds when I say it?
Right.
But like, a man's purpose is generally intangible. You got to have an intangible thing, but a man is actually tangible. And the women that those particular the older women that are particularly parting off this information, they don't respect men enough. They don't see us as anything else outside of utility. You know what I'm saying? They only see us as useful for doing the things that they don't want to do without ever respecting. They want a license to abuse the capability of a man without ever really fully appreciating, you know, him, you know, and everything that goes with appreciation, you know. Like, that's why, like, you see those guys that are raised by women, right? And it's a family full of women. That dude becomes the family handyman. He cut everybody grass. He fixed everybody handyman jobs in the house. And all of the women in the family become dependent on him. The minute that he brings a lady around, they hating on her off top. Right. Like I've said countless times, families that are full of women with no men in them are red flags. Stay away, because the women in that family have not been around men enough to understand how to respect one. In most cases, if you throw dogs and wolves, if you put a dog in a kennel with some wolves, then they're not gonna understand and respect him as a dog.
Right.
Or the dog is gonna have to assimilate to the wolf, you know? And even though they're similar, they're not the same. Horses and zebras, same thing. This is why I say a lot of us are clones. So I believe that type of guidance from older women comes from, you know, being side chicks. Most of these older women ain't been nothing but somebody's side chick. They ain't qualified to give no advice on no relationship at all.
And like you said, that side chick culture and side chick behavior. My dad, he always got this story about his dad's side of the family. You know, I think my great grandma had like 9 or 10 kids, but my dad always says, you know, it was rumor, you know, that some of them kids wasn't for her husband, you know, but that's a lot of the stories because, like we said, a lot of the brothers got drafted. We know the sexual behavior. While you had hardworking brothers in the military, y'all was sleeping with them niggas on smack. Let's be real. You know what I mean?
Without the apps.
You know, without the apps. So come on now. Y'all was moving real spicy back then.
So that really means, like, we only know a small percentage of what those women actually did and how little they actually valued the men that they actually had. Right. And their behavior shows you that they really believe that they can get another one. Men come a dime a dozen, girl. But it shows you that they think we're all the same. Right. And we're not, because men don't think all women are the same. Right. You show similar traits, of course, but like we know women are capable of making the same choices to be whatever they want, because we look at the sexual value of a woman a lot too. You know what I'm saying? Right. On a very primitive level, right? But the reality is that this is why I say if women love saying, and this is why it's so dangerous to define something at a generalization, okay? The defined generalization that most men get categorized by women is that all men cheat. Right. But if all men cheat, that means every last one of you women that say that are also side chicks. Because who are the men cheating with? That's true. If they like women, that means all of y'all side chicks. Cheat on their woman if they don't have a woman to cheat with, and that's the truth. But we supposed to be such sisters. And even in the second video, she mentioned that the women be like, well, he knew he was married when he laid down. He knew. That goes to show you have no respect for yourself or your fellow sister. You don't, because y'all be in the streets being ready to pull pistols. You know, now they toting guns. They pulling pistols. Look at Tory Lane's situation. You know what I mean? Right. Absolutely. Meg deliberately went behind Kelsey. Right. and Tory did, you know what I'm saying, did his dirt to put himself in that situation too, as far as that's concerned. It was a completely unnecessary situation to have to deal with. But, you know, that's how it goes. Right. But let's get to the next one. All right, folks. Appreciate you sticking with me to the end. This has been another episode of Beyond the Algorithm. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Go get the book. And most importantly, I will see you beyond the algorithm, because that's where life actually happens.